is Chidozi and Wuju. Just want to tell you a testimony about how I came back to Christ last month. Um, just want to first thank God for His mercy and His love towards us, even though we don't deserve it. So last month, February, uh, before I quit my job, I was really like in a depressive state. You know, smoking, drinking, partying, different things like that, which never really was conducive to a healthy lifestyle. But that's what I did because I was in a depressed mode. So I decided to one weekend, one Saturday, I decided to go to my friend's house in DC. You know, I was still heavily into the drugs and drinking and things. So I had like a wine and some marijuana and things like that to go and relax and hang out with my friend. So I got there, we're hanging out, listening to music. We had some wine and things like that. And he told me his friend was gonna come over and hang out. And he told me like she was a Seventh Adventist and she was Christian. And I was like, okay. So she came over and we went to this restaurant called New Vegan and went there, hanging out, talking about different things. And she turned to me and asked me like, so what church you go to? And I told her, I don't really go to church anymore right now because I don't identify as a Christian or a Seventh-day Adventist as of right now because I'm not practicing it. And she asked me the reason why I didn't go to church. And I told her like, what got me out of it really was because of certain doctrinal things that I didn't agree with. So I just made my exit because it wasn't any purpose for me being there if I couldn't participate in the ministry. And I became more isolated after that, and turned to my worldly friends and started hanging out with them. I guess for inclusion and. So after that, we were talking. She was like, okay, since you're doing that, you're going to be one of my new friends. Like she told my friend Kanan to give her my number so we could talk, and maybe have some camaraderie with Christian people. So he sent me her number and she invited me to church, but I said no, I'd rather not go, but I'll go to a Bible study. And then she was like, okay. And then the following week, I quit my job on that Thursday because they were like extortionists and they weren't taking care of their texts really, and I didn't want to work on the Sabbath. So eventually I would have. When I got hired to the job, I agreed to because I was desperate for money. But after time was going on, I saw that I eventually would have to work on the Sabbath, and I didn't want to do that. So I eventually quit my job. And then that day I quit my job, I quit smoking and drinking and, hanging out with certain friends because I believe that was conducive to a Christian lifestyle, and I cannot do that, with a clear conscience. And when I made that decision, many things started happening. My life started changing, diet, the people who I was hanging around with. And one day I was on Facebook looking at my friend's comments upon the insurrection that happened on January 6th. And he said he was there. He was saying it was a paid actors that were there. And I was interested in what his perspective was on that. So I was scrolling through the comments, and then people were bashing him and calling him different names. And one particular person was bashing him, and then he called him a particular name. I won't say it here, but it's a derogatory name for black people that they use, but he spelled it a different way. And that unique spelling, I was like, I never seen anybody spell it that way. I put that in the back of my mind. So fast forward, I get to later on that day, probably that was in the morning when I read that comment. Later on that day, like around probably 4 to 5, I was looking through my page on Facebook, the stuff that I post and other people could post on my wall. And I scrolled all the way back to July 14th, 2020. And it had this video there. And this video, basically, I was like, should I click this video? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna click this video. As soon as I clicked the video, it was describing everything what that guy was talking about, the word where he derived that word from. And that shocked me. And I knew that was the providence of God leading me to this gentleman, you know, to help inspire him on his walk. So I messaged him. I was like, did you use this term? Did you know the history behind this term? Did you perfectly understand this term? And did you use it in this way? Then I sent him the video. And he was like, yes, right on the dot. That's the exact reason why I use that term. Then he, quote unquote, he said, you know, most people are brainwashed out here. And then we had a conversation. I told him that God led me to that video so we could have this conversation, to inspire people on our walk. And I told him that, you know, I quit smoking weed last week, and you know, I changed my life for the better by the grace of God. And I told him all the things that happened to me with the meeting. I told him certain aspects of my life previously before leading up to this moment. And up to this day, we still stay in contact with each other, inspiring each other on our walk with God. And God brings, I told him that, you know, certain things that I believe, majority of people in the world and majority of people in the church don't really believe. And I don't really have any true friend that believes the same stuff I believe in Maryland or anything like that. And then he told me, well, you have this one friend, I'll be your friend, you know, and we could converse about different topics you believe, you know, that you believe is true. So God, you know, placed a nice friend in my vicinity to help, you know, each other on our walk with Christ. And in turn, it blessed me. And ever since then, God has been blessing my life day by day. It's been struggles, it's been ups and downs, but I never let go of Christ. And I want to leave off with this one verse that was very important to me recently, which gave me inspiration to overcome lack of faith. And this verse is John 6:37, and it says, "Those who come to me, I will in no wise cast out." So, if we come and seek after God, God will not cast us away. He'll always bring us. If we go to him in forgiveness and contrition of heart, asking to be in his presence, he will always gather us up, and he'll never break that promise. He'll say, no wise cast out. If we come to him, he will never cast us out. He'll always embrace us. And that gave me inspiration to never let go of Christ, no matter what bad thing happened to me, or confusion or understanding that I didn't really understand what's going on. So I just want to leave that with that. And that's my testimony for you guys. Thank you. God bless.
Amen. Amen.